Hello, dear friends. I wanted to speak this Friday about a passage in Hebrews chapter 12, which speaks particularly about facing hard times, about enduring hardship, and how we respond to that. I'm going to read through and draw out a couple of things. The passage is Hebrews chapter 12, verses 4 through to 12, through to 13. In your struggle against sin, you have not yet resisted to the point of shedding your blood. And have you completely forgotten this word of encouragement that addresses you as a father addresses his son? It says, and they quote from Proverbs chapter 3, "My son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline, and do not lose heart when he rebukes you, because the Lord disciplines the one he loves, and he chastens everyone he accepts as his son." Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what children are not disciplined by their father? If you're not disciplined, and everyone undergoes discipline, then you're not legitimate. Not true sons and daughters at all. Moreover, we've all had human fathers who disciplined us and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of spirits and live? They disciplined us for a little while as they thought best, but God disciplines us for our good, in order that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Therefore strengthen your feeble arms and weak knees. Make level paths for your feet, so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed. This passage ends on a strong challenge to us. Who wants to have feeble arms and weak knees? Not me. No, strengthen them. And it follows the challenge of the rest of this whole letter, that we are to be a people who look to Jesus, who believe that in him we have one who is better than any other thing that you could put your hopes in. To have faith, to believe in him and all the promises that he's made, and then to press on towards the goal, just as he's set the example for us. And so we have throughout this letter, don't grumble. That's one of the things that the Israelites did wrong. They were grumbling, but don't grumble when there's hardship, as if God has forgotten you, or as if he has gotten it wrong. You might be praying and he's not answering. Oh God, and it can lead you to grumbling, but he's not forgotten. He's not gotten it wrong. He never does. But this passage says if there's hardship in your life, endure it as discipline. Endure it as discipline. Treat it as God's discipline for us. That's not pleasant at the time, but painful, but it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. So we're to allow hardship in our lives to drive us to God, to remind us that he is a Father who loves us, that he disciplines us that we might share in his holiness. So there may be hardship that's in your life, and that might be there because you're resisting him. And whenever we're living in a way that's resistant to God, or we're living our own way and not putting his will first, it leads to death ultimately. That's what sin always does. It leads to hardship, it leads to pain. And sometimes God's discipline is to take those things and allow his discipline to lead us back to him. Like, why is things really difficult at the moment, and to come back to God. And sometimes as you come back to him and you're asking and you're praying and you're reading the word, he'll highlight to you, look, it's because you've been resisting me. You need to become obedient. You need to submit to my will. It may be that there's hardship going on that's just no one's fault. So if you look at pandemic stuff at the moment, that's not someone's fault in particular. So it's not that he's necessarily teaching us about a particular area of sin in our lives, but through it he teaches us to trust in Jesus, that he's given us hope for more than just this life. He's given us hope for a day when all sickness and death will be gone. And he teaches us to find strength in him when we're tired and weak, whether that's asking him for healing when you're feeling rotten, or whether you stay feeling rotten, but God does give you the strength to endure through that. that we come to him and find strength in him when we're tired and weak. And his arms are never feeble, even though ours are plenty of the time. And again, as Hebrews makes clear over and over again, we endure together. So we don't just endure God's discipline individually on our own as if that was all there was to it. We're to endure together. Throughout this letter, we have encouragement to take every opportunity to meet, and that's just what we're to do at the moment. Take every opportunity to meet as much as we're allowed to encourage one another, simply to spend time with one another that we've been missing out on, but we don't want to undervalue that, and to strengthen one another. That when you're enduring hardship, it makes all the difference in the world to be able to go through that with the kindness of your friends and the kindness of your brothers and sisters in Christ who can lead you back to what he's promised, and together you can find strength in him. So, church, I want to encourage you that there is plenty of hardship at the moment, but the encouragement, the exhortation in Hebrews and elsewhere in the Bible is to endure that as discipline. Not always to be so quick to say, I'll take it away. Obviously, we want hardship to stop, but to recognise that much fruit can come from it if in the middle of hardship it drives us to God and helps us to lean more on him and all that he's done for us, all that he's promised. So my prayer is that you would do that in the middle of all the hardships at the moment, and they'll be different for each of us, that we would treat them as discipline, that we would endure that in a way that leads us to God and that produces in us, maybe in due course, maybe not straight away, but a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who've been trained by it. May your arms be strong in the Lord and your knees not be weak in him. God bless you, church family, and I hope to see you soon.